Shaun, first of all, let's start with the New Gold brand and just what that means and how that relates to the low carbon economy.
Yeah, hey Kevin, great question. I mean, a big part of what we're trying to do with New Gold, the tag, if you will, that we're working on is new value, new markets, new gold. Looking at the decarbonization from an energy perspective and interest that lies in there, we know there's a huge demand. We know there's a huge demand out there today. We know there's a bigger demand in the future. And so if I think about where things are at today, sort of the low end of estimates would say we have maybe 95 million acres worth of needed sort of collective, call it collective support, whether it's canola, soy, and then complementing that, these low carbon intensity crops like camelina or winter canola in new geographies. We know based on demand and where it's anticipated to be, even at the low end, if that got to a low end of 128 million acres, and some of the high estimates are at 200 million acres, even if we put all of these, what we have today and kind of what's on the near term, we're still well below kind of that low estimate. And so that's a big part of what we want to do with New Gold is find those opportunities for lower carbon intensity crops and then connect them front to back, create not just a crop, but bring the market along with it. So really connect it front to back and find farm customers that are looking for rotationally something new, something to complement what they're doing today on their operations, helping to build out, financial sustainability as well as things that they may want to be contributing to from a farm sustainability environmentally as well.
So something that fits into the rotation, maybe adds an extra cropping option that didn't exist, maybe marginal land. So it's extra production that's not necessarily competing with food crop production.
Exactly right. So a couple of things that you've called out there that I can really sort of speak to and that fit right within there. So if it's a new spring crop on those marginal acres, who are looking at something like camelina, spring camelina to fit into those drier geographies, those tougher acres, those ones that maybe the options are more limited for those that are farming in areas that have that as part of their reality. We look at something like winter camelina from the winter biotype to add a third crop on 2 years. So, the chance to, we'll call it double crop, if you will, in some areas that maybe double cropping is really never hasn't been an option for people. And I think, in that case there, the chance in this one here, lots of times we get asked, well, is this a cover crop, or what's different about it than a cover crop? And so in this case, we're talking about harvesting that cover crop, right? So really taking a new revenue stream, if you will, from those acres, expanding those acres out. Something like as a camelina certainly fits within there. Winter canola for some of the places that we would see that fitting, into the south central plains in the U.S., where again, bringing a new crop into rotations, helping to add that additional crop, 3 and 2, if you will, really we think has the opportunity to fit, especially again when we bring it along with a market. That's really the key here to make it work for people.
But for Western Canada and particularly drier areas of Western Canada, the more immediate opportunity would seem to be camelina and winter camelina.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. So I think we'll be out in the market, out doing some pilot work, if you will, in this upcoming season here, not a couple months away, for 26. Really just helping to start to learn and walk before we run. Agronomically understand, getting the crop in the ground, growing it, harvesting it successfully, starting to think about logistically how we get it, moved around into the place that it needs to get to for, whether it's crush, whether it's ultimately for refining, because everything that we're doing here again is very specifically focused towards those biofuel markets, those low carbon intensity biofuel markets.
Now, you folks bought the breeding program and germplasm of Smart Earth camelina. That's a name that many people would probably recognize.
That's correct. Yeah. So a great business. A lot of work done on camelina by Smart Earth out of Saskatoon. Bayer acquired that business here a little over a year ago, and the idea there was to take all of that, that excellent work that had been happening from a germplasm and development perspective on camelina as a crop, couple that up with the breeding and R&D expertise that Bayer has certainly globally, and then take that focused very specifically on these low carbon intensity developing biofuel markets, and couple them up into maybe a little different approach certainly than we've operated in prior, but with the end goal of finding another way to connect with our farm customer base, and bringing them new markets, bringing them new opportunities that maybe they've had limited or just not an ability to participate in so far.
Well, a player of Bayer's size and experience and background, you certainly should be able to move the program and connect the dots more easily than a smaller company.
Yeah, I think again, when I think about it from the work and the progress that they were able to accomplish in the space that they were operating in, again, really kind of carving out a niche, if you will. I think that's exactly what we intend to do. We've got a lot of horsepower globally in terms of expertise, tools, and developments, innovation that we have made and that we can pull from even other crops. A crop like camelina, a varietal crop, not a hybrid crop, but just the opportunity to just take the learnings and expertise that we've got and hopefully ramp that up as quickly as possible in lockstep, or even maybe slightly ahead of what we want to do in terms of creating that scaled up business opportunity.
Do you have acreage projections at this point, or is it too early to be talking about those?
Yeah, it's a little early to talk about those, but what I can say is first and foremost, we want to walk before we run. So we want to learn right along with the customer base, whether it's on market development and agronomy and the production side of it, as well as correspondingly then how we lay in that call it the market opportunity, especially because, again, like I said, we're really focusing this on those low carbon intensity biofuel opportunities. So 26, for those that are in Southwest Sask or in Southeast Alberta, that's where we're going to start off with a small pilot. Looking forward into 27 here, we'll look to expand that out. But over the next 2 to 3 years, we really want to focus on learning and then be in a spot to start to scale up much more rapidly. So if that's something that you think is of interest to you, might be an opportunity for us to chat.
Does camelina have some inherent properties that make it particularly attractive for biofuel use?
It does. It's a high 30s, low 40s% oil crop. It's got I would say, better than average ability to really do well in those, like you called them, sort of more marginal areas, or areas that are, just tougher to grow, lower moisture. They fit better in those geographies than other crops, which we think, again, it also helps from a low carbon intensity perspective. The crop itself is ancient, right? It's been around for a long time, but it just hasn't had a lot of significant amount of energy put into it at scale in terms of developing. And so we say our feel is that looking at it, recognizing that there are these areas that today maybe the crops that have received the bulk of the attention really investment and from a technology and innovation perspective, there's an opportunity for some complementary crops to fit in there. And we think that's where something like camelina has a wonderful opportunity to thrive.
Shaun Corneillie, Bayer Crop Science, thank you very much.
Kevin Hursh, thank you. Appreciate it.